Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm bringing you a video that I wasn't even sure I wanted to bring you. What I'm planning to do here is to show you my first attempt at trying to make a miniature guitar. This is definitely not a tutorial. This is just me stumbling through the process of trying to make a little guitar for the Boho room. I don't exactly know what I'm doing. I've watched a few videos on YouTube and there are some very good ones out there, so if you want to do something like this, please go find one of them. So anyway, welcome to my struggle and we'll see what we come up with. Right now I'm just halfway through this process, so okay, so I have my little parts for my guitar laid out. I have a front, a back, and in a minute here I'll show you how I made the sides of it to join the front and back. It's this little piece here, and I realized that in just a minute I realized that I was in the way of the light. This is a new lighting system because I didn't feel I had enough light to make the camera want to focus right. So what this is a coffee stir stick. It's been soaking in water overnight, and I'm moving the lamp. And anyway, I used this. This is a piece of wood in the shape of a guitar, and this is what I used the coffee stir stick on. And while it was wet, I just put it around the little guitar shape that I have here, and then I took some rubber bands and I just started wrapping them as tightly as I could around the little guitar shape. Excuse me, my phone's going off. I have a coworker who's texting me and I'm trying to be there for her, and so yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get this video done so I can get it up. I wanted to, but this week of work has been something else. We have a new supervisor and I think she's going to be good, but yeah. So anyway, I'm showing you that I wanted to make this one of those sunburst guitars, and I thought maybe I could use distress inks, so I'm using scattered straw and I believe it's called fired brick. I did do some on some sample pieces of wood, and I really think that this is what I used, the sponges, and then I just kind of went in a circular motion, or I will be, on the front of the guitar. And anyway, let's see how that goes. So first I'm going to show you the neck of the guitar that I made, and I don't know if you can see it, but I did bend where the tuning pegs go. I did bend that because that's how guitars are, it's bent, and I'm just seeing if it feels stable, which it did. And then the neck piece will be attached to the top of the guitar when I get it put together, and hopefully when I get done this is going to look like something. So now I'm just starting to glue these side pieces around the back of the guitar. I don't want to touch the front until I have it colored, and I'm just going to be using some tacky glue on this. This wood was some old scrap wood I had laying around, and that's why you'll see a little print there on the back of it. It was a wooden tag that I'd gotten a long time ago when I was doing scrapbooking, and the size was perfect. I think it's about a 1/16 of an inch, and I thought that would be a good sized wood to use for this. The little guitar body itself is about 1 3/4 inches long and about 1 1/4 wide at its widest part. So, and again, I got the idea for this from some other YouTubers, and they make some really cool looking instruments. So now I'm just gluing that onto the back of the guitar, and I did a lot of fiddling around with this because I couldn't quite get it right. There were gaps in the guitar, and there I'm smoothing the glue off where the joint is at the bottom, and I was going to clip it, which does work, but then I'm noticing that I have some little gaps around the edge. And I noticed also that I think the guitar form I was using to bend the coffee stir stick was a little bit smaller than what I have here. This turns out not to be the case, but yeah, it's just that I didn't have everything lined up right. So I'm trying to line up things, and where the coffee stir stick meets at the bottom, I was having a lot of trouble with that. If you hear any noise out there, the wind is blowing like crazy. I swear to God, we can never have a nice day without wind. Just a minute, I gotta take this phone call. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I had like I said, I have a coworker, and she needed to really talk out some stuff. And in our line of work, sometimes you just really need to talk out some stuff, and so that's what I was doing. All right, so now I'm just still trying to fit this piece around this guitar, and at this point, I'm not really understanding what is going wrong here. I mean, I've got a good idea, but and so then I'm like, well, I can just go ahead, and I was going to put this little, it's a knife set. I was going to put that on top of there because it's nice and flat. It doesn't weigh a lot, and I thought that would be a good idea. But as you can see, I'm still fiddling with the join down there, and later on I figure out what is wrong and correct it and move on. So anyway, I'm going to put that on there, and then I was going to see, I'm still fiddling with it because I just can't figure out why this isn't lining up exactly, and things look kind of wonky. So now I'm trying to put it on here, and I was going to set the tacky glue on top of it, but I realized this isn't smooth on the back. So, get the piece of wood beside you. That works. That's a good size. And so now I'm fiddling with that little piece there again, and yeah, it's still not looking right to me when I look at the back side of it. I'm still trying to move things around and adjust it. So I go ahead and put the wood block on, and now I'm going to put the tacky glue on top of that. And I'm just going to let it sit for a while. So I've let it sit, and it's all pretty much dried and everything. The glue wasn't quite set because I had quite a bit of glue on there. So, and I saw that things weren't just, there's a little bit of wood of the guitar body itself, the back sticking out. So I'm like, well, I'll just sand this, which is what I'm doing here. And so I'm sanding it, and then there's that joint again. And it looks like it's butting up, but it's still wrong. So I start taking the side off. And the nice part is once you bend this wood, it will keep wanting to go to the same shape. And I'm like looking at it going, I've got gaps. Why do I have gaps? Why won't that stay where I want it? And so I'm back to messing around with that. So I took the side loose, trying to get a better fit. And so yeah, I'm just going to squirt some glue in there where I opened it back up, and I'm going to try it again here. So just putting glue around the bottom and the side there, because that's where I seem to be having the biggest problem with this. And so just wiping off a little excess glue, and the top of it it's just off a little bit, and I'm trying to get that to butt up to the other side of it, and I'm looking at it and kind of trying to get that where it's supposed to be, because it's just not right. It's off just by barely, but it's off enough that it will affect the look of my little guitar when I get it done. So then I thought, well, if I clamp it together, and these clamps do work really well for this, but now I'm looking and I see that I have gaps on the other side. So I'm going to take that loose and re-glue that. And I don't want to break anything at this point, because then it would be having to start over with the bending the wood process. And this coffee stir stick is a full coffee stir stick length. And I thought, oh, well, that just fits. But as you will see, the real problem was not so much in gluing it to the sides and the top. And I'm just using my X-Acto knife here to take it loose because the glue had set enough it didn't want to give. So I'm bending it around. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Why is this not fitting? It's so close. At this point, it is so close, but there are little gaps. And I'm trying to hold it and pull on the thing. And so I'm going to go ahead and try gluing that side. And I shouldn't have set my glue up because it's getting down and doesn't like coming out. So I'm just putting glue around that side like I did the other side, and then I'm just going to take that little piece of wood and I'm going to get it on there so it's nice and straight up and down because I don't want my sides going in or out. And it's at this point I finally figure out that I needed to cut maybe not even 1/8 of an inch off that coffee stick. That is my problem, right? So I cut that off, and now I'm just putting the guitar back together again here. And I need to cut just a little more off. So possibly it was a whole 1/8 of an inch at this point that I did cut off. And once I did that, the ends butt up together really nice, and I'm not seeing those gaps anymore that I had before. So now that I got that all figured out, it's like, how am I going to hold this together until it completely dries and keep that end pushed right up against itself where it's supposed to be. So I'm just moving the edges just slightly to get those gaps out of there, and yeah, just bringing it around a little bit. And I can see now at this point that the top no longer has the gaps, and I'm like, what can I do? And my first thought was, yeah, we'll just rubber band it back together. Only I'm not going to go as tight as I did because I don't want the edges to start leaning inward from the pressure of the rubber band. So just a little more push in there. Okay, so now I've decided to go ahead and wrap it with the rubber bands. As I said, I'm not doing these as tightly as I did when I was forming the wood, and then I decided I'd put these little clamps on it just to hold it and to hold that end part, and then one more rubber band in the middle, and there we go. So now everything is lined up, there are no gaps, everything is good. So on to the front of the guitar, and what I thought was doing the sunburst pattern would be really cool. But I was scared to use paint because it can get too thick and too much, so I decided to try Distress inks. Now these are really old, I've had them for a long time, but I thought they might work. So I have my little dauber thing there, and I'm using Scattered Straw right now for the yellow color. And as you can see, I've got little pieces of wood there that I've tried this on, so I know it does work. You just have to use a lot. And then I'm kind of just going in a circular motion around it with the yellow, and I like the way the color came out on it. It's not too yellow, but it's not, so I'm doing the yellow and got that all on there, and it's really more yellow than it looks. And so now I'm just making sure I got everything yellow, and now I thought, well, I'll try fired brick around the edges. And honestly, I think if I'd had more time and experimented more with it and tried something beside the sponges, this probably would have worked, but it just didn't go quite like I wanted it to. And I think the other color I was using was fired brick, and that was too red, so we're putting some orange marmalade on top of it. Yeah, I definitely think this would work, but it would take a lot more experimenting to get the colors to blend just right. So I didn't know at this point what I was going to do. I now have Distress ink all over my front of my guitar. The back is dried, and I have removed the rubber bands. So that's it's, like I said, I think this would work really well. I don't know at this point. I'm like, what am I gonna do with the front of this? Because I really don't like this, and I don't know what I can use that's gonna cover it besides paint, and I didn't really want to do that either. So anyway, here we are. I have applied some Waverly Antiquing wax to the front of the guitar, and that seems to look okay on there. It's not too light, it's not too dark. I really wiped it down good after I put it on so that I would remove a lot of the color because the antiquing wax is very dark. But anyway, we're going to leave it here and we will continue in the next video. My apologies for not getting one up this week. It has been a crazy week at work. I just want to say I hope you are all having a good weekend. And I want to thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to start the floors in the farmhouse. Thank you very much.